After my husband's passing, I discovered $30 million. My daughter's demand exposed a hidden truth that Emily sat on the cold wooden floor of her living room, surrounded by boxes of memories. The silence felt heavy after the chaos of the past months since James's passing. Each item she touched felt bittersweet, each piece a reminder of the love and laughter they'd shared. Her heart ached with a pain that threatened to engulf her, and as she sifted through the remnants of their life together, she stumbled upon something unexpected. A loose floorboard creaked beneath her fingers, revealing an old notebook. It was weathered and tattered, its spine barely holding together. When she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. What she discovered inside would change everything. A hidden bank account containing $30 million. The numbers danced in front of her eyes, a dizzying amount that felt unreal. Alongside the financial revelation were letters, heartfelt and raw, that unveiled a side of James she had never known. As she read his words, tears streamed down her face, a mix of love, loss, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. How could he have kept this from her? The man she adored had hidden an entire life from her, one that could have made their struggles easier. It was a decision rooted deep in pride, he had written. He feared the judgment of their close-knit community, the whispers that would follow if they were to rise above their humble beginnings. And then there was Lily, her 16-year-old daughter, bursting into the room with that fiery rebellion typical of her age. "Mom!" she exclaimed, her eyes scanning over the notebook. "What is this? We're rich. We could move. A mansion. I want to live like this." Emily's heart sank. "Lily, this isn't. It's complicated." The tension between them filled the room until it was almost suffocating. Lily's dreams clashed with the values Emily fought to uphold. Memories of James filled Emily's mind, a man who believed in hard work, integrity, and the joy of simple living. But here was Lily longing for a life of luxury, a life that felt so distant from their realities. As days slipped by, whispers echoed through the neighborhood, tales of their grief, admiration for James's military service, and the struggles they faced. Emily felt the weight of those whispers, the judgmental glances from neighbors who once admired. Until the letters, she never considered that James's pride had kept them all from truly knowing him, or from sharing the blessings he had amassed. What would they say if they found out? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The upcoming town hall meeting loomed ahead, a chance to give back to a community that stood by them during their darkest days. Emily was torn, feeling the pull of loyalty to both her late husband's values and the desires of her daughter. And now, approaching the meeting, she felt as if the entire world was watching. She needed to make a statement, a decision that could either bridge the gap between them or tear their family apart. As she prepared to speak, doubt washed over her. What did true wealth even mean? Just then, a commotion erupted outside the meeting hall, gripping her attention and igniting a new wave of uncertainty and urgency. What awaited her on the other side could either destroy or transform their lives forever. Emily stepped closer to the doors of the town hall, the commotion outside pulsating like a heartbeat against her chest. The sound of raised voices snapped her back to the moment. She could feel Lily's presence beside her, the weight of her daughter's eager anticipation palpable in the air. "What's going on?" Lily asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and impatience. "I don't know," Emily replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The uncertainty spread like wildfire inside her. She wanted to focus, to gather her thoughts, but the fray outside was like a magnet, pulling her toward it. "Mom, we can't just stand here," Lily insisted, her eyes bright with excitement. "What if it's something important? What if it's about the money?" Money. The word felt heavy, laden with both promise and peril. In that moment it felt both thrilling and terrifying. With a gentle nudge at her back from Lily, they pushed through the doors, stepping into the uproar. The townsfolk milled about, faces lit with a strange mix of enthusiasm and concern. Emily scanned the crowd until her gaze landed on Mr. Jenkins, the town mayor, standing atop a bench, a folded piece of paper clutched in his hand. "Listen up. I have an important announcement," he shouted, trying to impose some order over the rising din. Emily felt a chill run down her spine. The last time she had seen Mr. Jenkins stirred up like this was during the town's biggest crises. What could possibly have arisen now? "Just a few months ago," Mr. Jenkins began, "we lost our dearest hero James Walters. His legacy, however, lives on in unexpected ways." Lily's gaze shot to Emily, a spark of understanding igniting in her eyes. It dawned on them both at once. This wasn't just about James anymore. It was about the community and their shared grief. Not only was James a devoted soldier, Jenkins continued, voice firm, but he also had countless plans to support our town. After speaking with his estate, I'm excited to announce that James has allocated a significant portion of his assets to local charities and development projects that will benefit us all. Gasps spread through the crowd, followed by a surge of applause. Emily could feel her pulse quicken, battling a mix of pride and sorrow. This was the man she had loved, a man of integrity, and yet she felt a choke of betrayal rise again. Why hadn't he shared this with her? Amid the cheers, a voice broke through the noise, filled with desperation. "But what about Emily and Lily? What will happen to them?" It was Mrs. Thompson, their neighbor, who stood up to voice the worry on everyone's lips. Emily felt all eyes on her, expectations hanging in the air. The meeting room closed in around her, filled with questions she didn't know how to answer. Could she embrace this new reality? Could she accept the legacy left unspoken, and the wealth that came with its complications? "Mom," Lily whispered, drawing her back from her thoughts. "We need to say something." Her daughter's earnestness pierced her heart. This was a moment to step into the light that James had left behind. But instead of clarity, the more she heard, the more tangled her emotions became. With uncertainty swirling inside her, Emily nodded slowly, setting her jaw. "Let me think," she finally said, her voice quivering with the weight of what was at stake. As she moved toward the podium, the crowd held its breath. The truth simmered beneath the surface, clawing to be revealed. Just as she gathered her resolve, a shadow peeled away from the crowd, stepping into view a face she recognized but had hoped to avoid. Thomas, James's old friend, wielding a different kind of hidden truth. What could he possibly want to share now? As he approached, Emily braced herself for whatever revelations lay ahead. Would this bring her closer to understanding James, or would it only deepen the cracks in their world? Thomas stopped in front of Emily, his expression tense. She could almost see the thoughts racing behind his eyes, grappling with how best to dive into this delicate moment. The noise from the crowd faded into a dull thrum, leaving only the two of them in a suffocating silence. "Emily," he said, his voice low yet clear, "there's something you need to know." She didn't want to hear it. Not now. Not in the middle of this whirlwind filled with rising hope and uncertainty. But pressing her lips into a tight line, she nodded, forcing herself to listen. "James left behind a few letters, private ones," he continued, his gaze slipping past her and into the gathered crowd. "He meant for you to read them in your own time, but well, with everything going on, I thought it might be better if I brought it up." Letters? The word echoed in her mind, unraveling a string of mixed emotions. Had James really written her letters? What could be so important that he didn't share it in person? Before she could respond, another murmur broke through the spectators. A flicker of apprehension lurked in their eyes. This was not just about the estate donations anymore. It seemed to touch on deeper personal matters. "We need to talk privately," she said, her voice clipped. It felt wrong to have their entire life dissected in front of an audience. Turning, she gestured for Thomas to follow her outside, where the rain had eased into a soft patter against the cobblestones. Once away from prying ears, she stopped and squared her shoulders, ready to confront whatever revelation he was about to unveil. "What are these letters about, Thomas?" He hesitated, the evening light casting shadows across his features. "James struggled with a lot more than you think. He wanted to protect you and Lily from the truth." The words hung between them like a heavy weight. "Protect us from what?" She pressed, her heart racing. "Secrets he carried with him from the army. There are things he never told you about his past, things that might change how you see his legacy." The sharp intake of breath was hers, a jolt that sent chills racing down her spine. Memories of James's late-night stares and distant remarks came flooding back, how he had always sidestepped questions about his service, how he had brushed off the shadows under his eyes with laughter. "Why didn't you tell me before?" she demanded, voice rising with frustration. "Why bring this to me now, in front of everyone?" "Because I didn't know how," he replied, hands open in a gesture of vulnerability. "I thought keeping things quiet was what he wanted. But you deserve to know who he really was, Emily, not just the hero everyone painted him to be." The tension coiled tighter, and for a moment, Emily felt lost, caught between the public image of her husband and the ugly truths that could unravel everything they held dear. "What's in those letters?" she whispered, fear creeping in. Thomas looked deeply into her eyes, a shared understanding passing between them. "I think they'll help you see all of him. But you need to be ready for that." "Ready for what?" But before he could answer, the rhythmic applause from the town hall rose again, pulling her back. There was still a crowd waiting, still questions to answer, expectations to meet. Her heart raced as she struggled with the turmoil inside. "Thomas," she finally whispered, voice trembling, "I need to read them. Can you trust me with what you know?" He nodded, a resolution hardening in his eyes. "Just be cautious. The truth can be both a gift and a curse." As she turned back toward the town hall, a wave of uncertainty washed over her. Would unveiling these hidden truths bridge the chasm of misunderstanding in her heart? Or would they tear apart the very foundation she stood on? With every step, her mind raced. The weight of the unknown loomed large ahead of her. Unresolved tensions and anticipated revelations lined the corridors of her thoughts. What if these letters held answers that changed everything? Her heart drummed in anxious rhythm. Beneath the thrill of discovery, a darker fear slithered through. What if she lost the man she thought she knew all over again? As she took a deep breath and re-entered the hall, she steeled herself for the questions still to come. But with each step she took, an echoing thought lingered. Was she ready for what lay in those letters? What truth would they reveal? The applause met her like a wave as Emily stepped back into the hall. A sea of friendly faces surrounded her, but inside she felt like a stranger. The warmth of gratitude rang hollow, overshadowed by the jagged uncertainty twisting in her gut. Questions lingered, whispering promises of truth, even as her pulse raced with each heartbeat. As she approached the podium, familiar faces blurred together. They were all here to honor James, to celebrate a legacy woven from kindness and strength. But what if that legacy was built on illusions? Could she risk unveiling the man she thought she had known? And why had she been kept in the dark all this time? "Emily, it's so good to see you." A voice broke her reverie. It was Margaret, her neighbor, clutching a bouquet of sunflowers. "This event is perfect, just like James would have wanted." "Thank you, Margaret." Emily forced a smile, though her heart felt heavy. "I appreciate it." She glanced around. Everyone seemed oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. "Are you doing okay?" "I can't imagine how you're feeling." Margaret's eyes widened with concern. "If there's anything you need," Emily nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. Thank you. I just need some time." The words slipped out, barely hanging on. Somewhere in the back of her mind it felt almost like a confession. As Margaret walked away, Emily's gaze landed on Thomas again, standing near the entrance. His expression was a mix of sympathy and resolve. Maybe he understood what was coming. Maybe he carried his own burden. Another weight built from secrets. She turned her back to the crowd, finding solace in the dim light of the hallway. The doors creaked as they opened, revealing the evening twilight. Taking a breath, she ventured outside again, the cold air hitting her like a splash of water. She needed to think. Could she really read those letters? What if they shattered the memory of James she had clung to? But the very act of knowing felt like a lifeline, even if it tugged her toward a darker truth. She hesitated, torn between the past she cherished and the possible lies that lay ahead. "Emily." Thomas's voice broke through her thoughts. He approached, his brow furrowed with concern. "I know this is overwhelming, but are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I just don't know what to expect," she admitted. "What if those letters change everything I believe about him the way I saw him? Then that's exactly why you need to read them. You deserve that clarity, Emily. And Lily deserves it too. Don't let his past decide your future." His words resonated like an echo, striking a deep chord within her heart. Thomas was right, as much as it hurt to admit. She owed it to herself and to her daughter to face whatever demons lurked in those letters. "Okay," Emily said slowly, determination creeping into her voice. "I'll read them. I'll find out who he really was." As she returned to the gathering, she straightened her shoulders, a new resolve washing over her. The applause faded as she approached the stand again, this time ready to confront the reality of her life head-on. But not before something in the crowd caught her attention. A woman at the back, with striking hair and a familiar energy, seemed to be looking directly at her. There was something unsettling about the way she stood, her presence oddly commanding despite the sea of mourners. The woman spoke softly to another attendee, her hands gesturing as if illustrating an unseen story. Emily felt a chill ripple across her skin. Who was she? And why did she have the feeling that this wasn't over? The night was shifting, opening its jaws into the unknown, and Emily could only brace herself for whatever revelation was about to come her way. Emily swallowed hard, her heart racing as she caught the woman's gaze again. There was something unnerving about the connection, like a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit. Who was she? And what role did she play in James's life? The questions churned in Emily's mind, distracting her from the moment she was supposed to honor. She took a deep breath and steeled herself. Time wasn't on her side. She had to finish this tribute and gather her strength. As she approached the podium once more, the murmurs of the crowd faded, replaced by the steady thump of her heart. She grasped the edges of the wooden structure, her pulse echoing in her ears. This was her moment to reclaim a sense of control, no matter how fragile it felt. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she began, her voice shaking slightly. "I cannot express how grateful I am for the love shown to James during his life, and even in his passing." The crowd nodded, many of them smiling softly, their eyes glistening with affection for the man they had shared their lives with. But the warmth in the room felt like a mask now, hiding shadows beneath. Emily pressed on, desperately needing to set the truth free. "James, my husband, was a man of many layers." She hesitated, recalling the letters waiting for her back at home. "I know many of you loved him for his kindness, his dedication to our community. But life can be complicated." A murmur ran through the crowd. Whispers seemed to rise like steam, filling the air like a fog. The striking woman in the back shifted her weight, her eyes narrowing, as though she leaned into an invisible current. Emily could almost feel the weight of her stare, urging her forward, or perhaps pushing her back. It was hard to tell. "I was blind to certain parts of his life," she continued, holding the gathered faces in her gaze. "And though it may be painful, I have come to realize that understanding means confronting the truth, no matter how unsettling." She searched the room, noticing a flicker of apprehension on Thomas's face, a mix of support and worry. "I owe my daughter and myself the chance to uncover who James truly was." The words spilled out before she could stop them. "And I hope we can all find solace in understanding, no matter where that understanding may lead us." More unease rippled across the audience. Somewhere in the back, the woman's expression shifted, a small smile tugging at her lips. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, scrutinized as if she were the subject of an experiment. "Thank you for sharing this moment with me," she concluded, forcing a smile despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling in her heart. The applause that followed felt muted, distant. Emily stepped back, feeling the weight of her words hang in the air, thick with unsaid truths. As she stepped off the stage, the crowd began to shift, and the woman approached with purpose. Every step echoed in Emily's mind. It felt like a clock ticking down to an inevitable confrontation. "Emily, right?" The woman's voice was low but confident, carrying an undercurrent that sent chills down Emily's spine. "I think we need to talk about James." Emily opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat, tangled in fear, confusion, and a desperate need for answers. What could this stranger possibly know? And just how deep did James's secrets go? Before Emily could gather herself, the woman stepped closer, her presence impossible to ignore. The night promised more than just revelations, it hinted at a storm that was just beginning to brew. Emily's pulse quickened. The woman's piercing gaze held her captive, as if every pair of eyes in the room faded into a blurred background. The air crackled with tension, heavy with the weight of unspoken words. "I'm Tara," the woman introduced herself, her voice smooth like velvet yet edged with urgency. "I knew James more than you think." Emily swallowed hard. What do you mean? She tried to sound steady, but her voice betrayed her vulnerability. Tara stepped back, assessing her as if weighing the consequences of her next revelation. James and I, she hesitated, visibly grappling with her emotions. We had a connection, an understanding that transcended friendship. He was in my life long before he met you. The world tilted beneath Emily's feet. The memories of their marriage so full of light, laughter, and dreams suddenly felt tainted, distorted. Had James hidden this from her? Was love not what she believed it to be? I don't understand, Emily managed, her voice barely a whisper. The room was filled with the low murmur of conversations around her, but it felt like an echo, distant and insignificant. I didn't know if I should come tonight, Tara admitted, her eyes softening. But I feel it's time to share what he told me. Before she paused, glancing at the floor, then back up, determination sparking in her gaze. Before the end. What did he tell you? Emily pressed, fighting the tears that threatened to spill. Anger swirled within her, coiling tightly in her stomach. James was complicated, Tara said carefully. He was searching for something or someone. He loved you, but there were parts of his life he kept hidden even from himself. I think he was trying to protect you. A pinprick of hope flickered in Emily's heart, wrestling against the waves of betrayal. Protect her from what? What had he done? Was he unhappy? Emily asked, her voice trembling. Did he love you? Tara shook her head, her expression earnest. No, he loved you fiercely. Still, there were things he never resolved, truths he was afraid to face. When he fell ill, he reached out to me. He was scared. He wanted to come clean, but time slipped away. It's not enough, Emily said, shaking her head, frustration knotting her voice. If he loved me, why didn't he tell me? Each word felt heavier than the last, a weight she had never anticipated having to bear. I think he was trying to make his past vanish, Tara replied gently. The truth can feel like poison, Emily. But you deserve to know who he really was, who he was to me. I didn't come here to hurt you. I came because I believed James would want you to understand. Emily looked away, her mind racing. Secrets and lies felt like a labyrinth she had never agreed to enter. But if she wanted to give Grace the truth, the closure they both needed, she would have to confront this discomfort. Why now? Emily asked, uncertainty swirling in her gut. Why reveal all this just when I thought I could start to grieve? Because you're not ready to bury his memory, Tara said gently. You need the whole story, not just pieces. And that story, it's out there. Emily's heart raced. What could Tara possibly mean? The thought of more hidden layers threatened to drown her. Are you willing to uncover the truth with me? Tara asked, taking a hesitant step closer. Emily hesitated. The storm was only beginning. Doubt, pain, curiosity, and an urgent need for answers all collided in her heart. She owed it to James. She owed it to Grace. But what awaited them on the other side of those truths? Would the revelations provide healing or open wounds never meant to be unearthed? As she faced Tara, Emily felt the earth shift beneath her. What now? She whispered, bracing herself for what was about to unfold. The room felt smaller as Tara moved closer, a palpable tension humming between them. Emily could hardly breathe, the weight of the moment churning in her chest. What had she signed up for by even engaging in this conversation? What if the truth was more painful than the unease she felt now? Let us find somewhere quieter, Tara suggested, glancing around as if the walls had ears. Emily nodded, her heart pounding like a drum. They navigated through throngs of mingling guests, past flickering candlelight and clinking glasses, until they reached a dimly lit corner of the hall. It felt like stepping into a moment wrapped in shadows, warm but eerie. Tara hesitated for a heartbeat. James wanted to tell you everything. I can feel it. But he was haunted by something, someone. Emily crossed her arms, a chill creeping up her spine. What do you mean? Who? And why didn't he just talk to me? Because he couldn't handle it, Tara murmured, taking a deep breath. He was embarrassed. Ashamed. Of what? Emily pressed, the grip of anger tightening around her. I've had enough of vague answers. I don't want to keep guessing. Tara stepped closer, her voice dropping to a near whisper. There was another woman, Emily. They had a brief affair before you two got serious. He thought it was just a fling. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. That word echoed in Emily's mind. Fair. It crashed against her like a wave, dragging her under momentarily. Another woman? She whispered, disbelief making her voice tremble. How could he? I thought he was different. I trusted him. He was different because he loved you, Tara responded fiercely, her eyes darting to meet Emily's. But he couldn't escape his past. Even after he fell in love with you, she tried to come back into his life. It created a storm inside him, one he never knew how to express. Emily felt like someone had ripped the ground out from beneath her. So he lied to me? Were we just some sort of escape for him? Not at all, Tara insisted, shaking her head. He loved you more than I can express. You were his anchor. But he didn't know how to reconcile his past mistakes. He thought he could hide it all away. But as time went on, it consumed him. Tears prickled at the corners of Emily's eyes. Was there truth in this? Had James really been so haunted? The picture of their life together suddenly felt fragmented, pieces missing. Why are you telling me this now? Emily choked, frustration boiling over. What purpose does this serve? I am trying to mourn him, not dig up his past. Because if he wanted you to know anything, it was that he was not perfect. But his love for you was real, Tara said softly. And he really did try to keep you safe from the echoes of his mistakes. But there were so many things that were never spoken. Things that are still out there waiting to be discovered. Emily's heart raced again. The urgency of Tara's words wrapped around her, suffocating yet intoxicating. What was left to uncover? Please, Emily whispered, needing one more push. What do I have to do? Tara took a deep breath, her expression turning serious. We need to find his journals. They're scattered around. That's where you'll find the truth about everything, his fears, his thoughts, his regrets. A heavy mix of dread and determination coursed through Emily. The truth could shatter her, but it could also set her free. Could she really plunge into this uncertainty, confronting everything she thought she knew? Where do I start? She asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. Nutri. Follow the clues he left behind, Tara said, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. You might be surprised at what you discover. As they exited the corner, the buzz of the party returned in waves, but all Emily could hear was the pounding in her chest. She was ready to face whatever lay ahead for Grace, for James. But who would she become in the process? Without realizing it, she had already stepped into a new chapter of her life. One that might unravel everything she believed. And as Emily looked at Tara, a storm of emotions swirled through her. What did James leave for me? The question hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Tara opened her mouth to respond, but just then, Tara's phone buzzed in her pocket. Her face went pale. It's not over yet, she breathed, looking back at Emily, eyes wide with concern. What do you mean? Tara hesitated and then pulled out her phone, her fingers trembling as she read the message. There's more, she whispered. We need to leave now. Panic surged through Emily as she stared at the expression on Tara's face. What could be waiting for them? In that instant, reality twisted again, as if plunging deeper into the unknown. Where are we going? Emily demanded, her mind racing. To uncover the truth. Wait, what is happening? Emily's voice quivered as she watched Tara tense, her eyes scanning the room like a hawk. The weight of the message loomed heavier than the darkening corners around them. Someone knows, Tara replied, her tone urgent. About the journals. We need to go before they get here. Who? Who knows? Emily felt the ground beneath her shift, not just figuratively, but she feared literally as well. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, each second rippling with a mix of fear and adrenaline. The woman has passed, Tara explained, glancing back toward the party. If she's here, it's not a coincidence. We can't let her interfere. Interfere? With what? Confusion rushed over Emily, battling the anxiety gripping her gut. What does she want? Answers, Tara said, her eyes locked on the doorway. And maybe more. It's not just about James anymore. They stepped into the hallway, the laughter and chatter fading behind them. The air felt charged, the kind of energy that prickled on the skin. Emily didn't even know if she wanted the truth anymore. What else could there be lurking in shadows? I need you to trust me, Tara said, her gaze steady and fierce. This isn't just about James. It's about protecting you and understanding him. Understanding him? Emily echoed, breathless. How can I understand a man who kept so much from me? Because that's what love is sometimes, Tara countered, her voice rising as they hurried toward a side exit. Accepting flaws, dealing with the secrets. We all have them. As they reached a secluded door, Tara pulled it open, revealing a chilly evening bathed in twilight. Emily hesitated for a moment, the vivid images of her memories with James flooding her mind, his smile, his laughter, the quiet moments. What could be left to uncover? Tara stepped outside, breaking the spell. Come on. Emily did her best to jog after her. Where are we even going? To his place. The clues are there. Buried in his memories and writings, Tara breathed, urgency compelling her forward. And we can't stay here any longer. They crossed the street, the city lights twinkling in the distance like a promise, but the mood weighed heavily upon Emily. And if she's south at his place? We forced the truth out. Together. The fear in her heart pulsed with determination. She felt alive and terrified at the same time. A strange cocktail of emotions swirling suddenly strong within her. Did he love her? The question slipped out unbidden and raw. Maybe. But he chose you, Tara replied, dimming the volume of her voice as they neared an unfamiliar building. His heart knew where it belonged, even if his mind got tangled. That's the story we need to piece together. It's the only way to lay this to rest. Breathless, they climbed up the steps, pausing just before the door that was once a threshold to Emily's world with James. What if everything she thought she knew was about to be turned on its head? Just hold on tight, Tara urged. This could shake everything we thought we understood. Emily steeled herself, every moment of doubt colliding with a flicker of hope. I'm ready. As they entered, the familiar scent of James lingered in the air alongside the sharpness of loss. The room was still, shadows hiding the secrets she had long avoided. She stepped inside, her heart thundering. But just as Emily reached for the first box she found, a noise echoed from the back room, an unmistakable sound, almost like the scrape of a chair. Tara froze, eyes wide, whispering, "We're not alone." Every instinct in Emily screamed at her not to move. What had she truly stepped into? What truths were about to unfold? And who else was entangled in James's past? They stood at the precipice, and there was no going back now. Would they find answers, or would this lead to even deeper wounds? Let us see, Emily breathed in sheer determination. The answers lay ahead, but so might the storm of emotions she had not yet prepared for. The looming question remained, would the truth heal her or break her even further? Just then the door creaked open wider, and a silhouette emerged from the darkness. Within, eyes shining like shards of glass. Who are you? A voice sharpened through the silence, sending a chill racing down Emily's spine. And in that moment all she could think was, what now? The figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a woman whose features mirrored James's. Emily felt breath leave her lungs as she processed the reality staring her down. It was as if a ghost had materialized, an embodiment of the past she didn't know existed. What are you doing here? Tara demanded, taking a protective step forward. But Emily stood frozen, her heart racing. The woman exhaled slowly, a mix of resignation and defiance on her face. I could ask you the same thing. Her voice was steady, masking what was likely a torrent of emotions beneath. This is about James, isn't it? Emily blinked, barely able to maintain her composure. You know him? Of course I do. I'm Alice, she replied, crossing her arms as if trying to shield herself from their judgment. I need to explain, there's so much you don't know. Emily's mind was a chaotic whirl. Alice. The name sounded both foreign and hauntingly familiar. You're part of his past, she breathed out, the weight of the revelation crashing over her. It's more than just that, Alice continued, her voice softening. I was a part of his life before you. Before everything changed. What do you want? Tara asked again, her gaze unwavering. Alice stepped closer, her eyes earnest. To clear the air. I owe it to him. And to you, both of you. Emily felt her insides twist like a knot. Why should we trust you? Her voice trembled slightly, but she didn't back down. Alice looked at Emily, vulnerability lining her features. Because I loved him and lost him too. And I can help you understand who he really was, the man whose secrets drove him away. Tara glanced at Emily, her expression flickering between skepticism and curiosity. Emily's heart raced. Could this woman hold the key to untangling the mess of emotions she felt? Was there really more to James than she had ever known? Suddenly, the walls of the tiny apartment felt like they were closing in. Each breath was heavy with invisible tension. She recalled Tara's words about love and acceptance. Could she push past her fear? Let the past breathe again. Even if it meant facing Alice? What are you hiding that makes you so fearful? Emily asked, her voice steadier now. Tell us everything. No more secrets. Alice took a deep breath, her eyes glistening like fresh tears. There's a reason I came here tonight. James has left something behind, something important. And it's not just about me, it's about you too. What do you mean? Tara pressed, stepping closer. His journals, they're not just memories. They might hold truths that could change everything you think you know about him, about the choices he made. Emily felt a rush of mixed emotions, a sense of urgency surging through her veins. Could the journals hold keys to a grimmer understanding of James? Perhaps they could unravel the tangled threads of his life? But before she could respond, Alice continued, and I'm afraid if you don't act fast, someone else might discover them first. Someone who doesn't want the truth to come out. The weight of her words felt suffocating. Who? Emily blurted, fear gnawing at her. But Alice hesitated, her gaze slipping away, hinting at layers more complex than Emily anticipated. If I tell you that, you won't believe me. You have to trust me first. The chill in the air thickened, a tense stillness settling in the room. Emily was caught between fury and the desperation to know who James truly was. Could both women find reconciliation, possibly even healing, in his memory? Okay, she said finally, determination guiding her. I'm in. What do we need to do? Alice stepped closer, and for a moment, it felt like they bridged some unseen chasm. We need to find the journals. They're hidden, and I believe I know where to start looking. Just as hope flickered, a loud crash echoed from the back room, and a shadow moved quickly past them. Emily's heart thundered. What was that? She exchanged a worried glance with Tara and Alice, the feeling of being watched suffocating her. Something about this night was far from over, and it was about to get even more complicated. Stay close, Alice warned, fear inches from her voice. We might not be alone here. After all, the urgency of the moment pressed in around them, and as the darkness loomed, Emily wondered if they would ever find the answers they so desperately needed, or if they might unleash something beyond all comprehension. Emily's heart raced as the echo of the crash faded into the tense silence. She turned to Alice and Tara, their faces tight with concern, mirroring the chaos that churned in her own chest. What now? She whispered, her voice trembling. Alice stepped forward, her brows furrowed with determination. We need to be smart. That noise could be a distraction, or it could mean someone else trying to find us or stop us. Stop us? Emily echoed, fear gripping her gut. It felt surreal, as if she were caught in a thriller spun out of her darkest nightmares. But wasn't this all about unearthing the truth? Let us move, Tara urged, her voice steady yet urgent as they edged away from the doorway. They maneuvered through the dimly lit apartment, stepping silently as they made their way towards the back, where the sound had come from. With every step, shadows danced along the walls, playing tricks on their eyes. Emily felt the chilling weight of anticipation. Were they about to confront secrets that would change everything? The back room was small, cluttered with remnants of James's life, boxes filled with old photographs and trinkets. Emily's heart sank. How could one man hold so many fragments of history? Then out of the shadows a figure emerged, tall and menacing. What do you think you're doing here? A voice growled. Emily felt panic surge as the figure stepped closer. Who are you? She demanded. The sense of danger felt palpable, overwhelming. James had things we need, the stranger said, eyes narrowing. Where are the journals? Tara moved protectively in front of Emily. Alice stood her ground beside them. You can't just come in here and threaten us. Tara shouted, her voice rising, determined not to back down. Move aside. No, Emily yelled, stepping forward. I don't know who you are, but we're not leaving until we get the answers we deserve. The tension in the air was electric, vibrating with unspoken history and danger. Emily's heart pounded louder than the chaos swirling around them. James's past is not for you to meddle in. The stranger barked, his features twisted with anger. Then tell us what you want. Emily pressed, anger mingling with fear. What do you know about him? In that moment, Alice stepped closer to Emily, her expression clouded yet resolute. You don't understand. James had enemies, secrets he kept hidden even from those he loved. If you don't get the journals, the truth they want to remain safe. The stranger's glare met Alice's eyes, recognition flashing across his face. "You shouldn't be here, Alice," he sneered. "Move out of the way." Emily barely caught the exchange. She sensed the deeper history behind their words. "Are you going to hurt us?" she asked, her voice steady but edged with fear. "No," the man replied, slowly backing down, but his eyes stayed locked on Alice. "But if I were you, I wouldn't trust anyone in this room." An uneasy silence settled, thick with tension. The shadow of uncertainty clung to Emily, and she glanced at Tara, gauging her resolve. "We need to find those journals. They could hold everything. But where could they be? If you want to find them, I can help." The stranger seemed to reconsider, taking a small step back. "But you have to trust me. At least a little." Emily felt the weight of the decision wash over her. "Why should we?" she said, narrowing her eyes. Trust was a fragile thing right now. "I wasn't just connected to James," he replied, a note of vulnerability creeping into his voice. "I knew about his burdens, his regrets. I thought that after what happened, maybe he could have a second chance. But time ran out." "What does that even mean?" Tara snapped, crossing her arms. "You're just another player in this tangled web, aren't you?" "That may be," he conceded. "But if you're hoping for clarity, you'll need to find the journals before someone else does. The person you're trying to protect yourself from might not let that happen." As if a chain reaction had been ignited, a loud noise erupted outside, a clamor that sent a thrill of fear through Emily. "Now is not the time for hesitation," Alice urged, glancing back at the door. "If we want to uncover what James left behind, we need to act fast." "Then let us find those journals," Emily declared, her heart filled with determination. "Before it's too late." With a newfound urgency, the four of them began to search the small room. Every box was opened, every drawer pulled out, frantically sifting through the remnants of James's life. "What are we looking for?" Tara asked, her eyes scanning every corner, every faded piece of paper, fraught with concern. "Anything that looks like a journal or writings," Alice answered quickly. "He kept records he had to have in order to process everything. That's how he made sense of his world." Emily's fingers grazed the rough textures of the boxes, spilling old memories onto the floor, pictures of laughter, love, and moments she now feared had been tinged with lies. Her heart ached, but she pushed through, fueled by the hope that understanding would follow. Minutes felt like hours and frustration built. Just as Emily thought they might not find anything, Alice gasped. "Here! In this box!" she shouted, pulling out a leather-bound journal that looked as old as the secrets it contained. "This is it." The room fell silent as Emily took the journal from Alice, feeling the weight of it in her hands. It was heavy both physically and emotionally. This journal represented everything that had been brushed under the rug. It held promises of answers, yet it felt like an anchor pulling her deeper into the unknown. "Open it," the stranger urged, pointing at her. "You need to see what's inside. But be prepared, it may change everything." With trembling fingers, Emily opened the journal, bracing herself for the emotions that would spill out. Every word, every entry could unravel their entire understanding of James, and what he had hidden. As she flipped through the pages, reading snippets and fragments, the world around her faded into a blur. James had poured his soul into these pages, his fears, his regrets, the love he had for Emily, and the shadows he had wrestled with. Tears pooled in her eyes as she felt the weight of his thoughts echo through her. "I am not the man they believe me to be," she read aloud, her voice trembling. "I have lived under the pressure of expectations and fear of what I might reveal. My greatest fear is losing the family I have fought so hard to build." The words sent tremors through her heart. This was not just a confession. It was a window to his soul, a man trying to protect everything he cherished, despite the demons he struggled with. Just then, the door burst open, and the threatening figure from earlier appeared, his eyes blazing. "I warned you," he growled. Emily clutched the journal to her chest, adrenaline spiking. They weren't safe yet. "Get out!" Tara shouted, shoving Emily behind her while stepping protectively forward, ready to defend. But just as panic surged, Alice stepped forward, meeting the figure's intensity. "Stop! This isn't how we do this." The man paused, uncertainty flashing in his eyes. Emily felt her breath catch in her throat. "We can work together," she said, the words coming out more boldly than she felt. "Help us understand and we can help you too." The man hesitated, his muscles tensing. You have no idea what you're dealing with. We know more than you think, Tara interjected. And we're not going to let fear hold us back anymore. In that moment, Emily felt a surge of courage within her. They were in this together, bound by shared pain. Secrets that had festered far too long. With a few deep breaths she stepped forward, offering the journal. Here. If you care about James, you'll want to know the truth. The man regarded the journal for a heartbeat, his eyes flickering with a tangled mix of emotions. James deserves to be remembered for who he truly was, Emily insisted, her heart pounding. Not just the facade he built for everyone else. He reached out, his fingers brushing against the journal, opening the door to possibility. Maybe you're right. As Emily watched him carefully, the tension hung heavy in the air, but for the first time it felt like an opportunity for collaboration, a chance to confront the past together. Let us uncover what we can, Alice said softly, and perhaps find a way to mend and heal. The man nodded, a tentative agreement in his eyes. And in that moment, a fragile alliance formed, built on the need for understanding and the pursuit of truth. Emily felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It wouldn't be easy, but perhaps together, they could rewrite the story that had been hidden for too long. A new chapter was beginning, and for the first time there was hope that it could lead to light. Let us do this, Emily said, her voice steady. Together. The shadows of the past lingered, but they would face them head-on, unearthing the complex tapestry of James's life, revealing his truth and ultimately, finding a way to heal their wounds. All of them. And even as the shadows loomed, Emily felt a flicker of light breaking through, the promise of answers, of connection, of transformation that would not just change her, but perhaps could change them all. Now it was time to turn the page and tell their new story. What would it hold? Time would tell, but she was ready to find out. If you've been following Emily's incredible journey, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help get this inspirational story in front of more people. Your support matters, and your engagement helps guide the future of our content. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Let's hear your thoughts and connect as a community, because only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.